She didn't call a lawyer first. She didn't call a friend. She picked up a pen. And everything Hugh Jackman has spent 2 years carefully building might be about to burn down. Let's start from the beginning, because this story is so much darker than the tabloids are telling you. September 2023, Hugh Jackman and deborraleefurness release a joint statement about their separation. Individual growth, separate paths, sterile, bloodless, corporate. The kind of language that doesn't come from two people whose 27-year marriage just collapsed. It comes from a crisis management team at midnight trying to control a story that's already spinning out. And Deborra Lee signed it. She played along. And that was the first mistake Hugh's team made, because they assumed her silence meant surrender. It didn't. For 20 months, she said absolutely nothing. Not one interview, not one cryptic Instagram caption, not one anonymous source close to Deborra Lee quote planted in a magazine. Nothing. Meanwhile, every single week brought a new photo. Hugh and Sutton Foster laughing in New York, holding hands, looking disgustingly comfortable for two people who just happened to be co-stars. Every headline, every paparazzi shot, every breathless entertainment segment. And through all of it, she stayed quiet. But here's what nobody was saying out loud. That silence was protecting him. Every day, Deborra Lee didn't pick up the phone and call a journalist. Hugh Jackman's greatest showman image survived another 24 hours. The charming interviews kept rolling. The warm smile kept working. The world kept loving him because she let them. She held the matches and chose not to strike. Honestly, looking back now, that feels less like grace and more like strategy. Then, May 2025 hit, and everything changed. She filed for divorce, not jointly, not peacefully, not with another carefully worded statement drafted by his lawyers. Hers, unilaterally, done. 5 days later, she released a statement to the Daily Mail, and one word in that statement reportedly triggered emergency meetings inside Hugh's PR team. One word: betrayal. Not sadness, not heartbreak, not "we grew apart" or "this was mutual." Betrayal. From a woman who had said nothing for nearly 2 years. She didn't accidentally choose that word. She surgically selected it. And sources reportedly say Hugh was blindsided. Wait, stop. The man who had been photographed all over New York City with his Broadway co-star for almost 2 years felt blindsided because his ex-wife called it a betrayal? This part genuinely doesn't add up. Unless he had gotten so comfortable with her silence that he actually believed the story his own PR team was selling. That's a special kind of delusion. But here's where it gets really spicy. Page 6, the Daily Mail, new idea. All of them reporting the same thing. Deborra Lee didn't just write a statement, she wrote a book. And publishers are apparently in a full bidding war over the manuscript right now. Not because it's emotional, because it's documented. Dates, conversations, timelines that allegedly don't match the version Hugh's team has been carefully feeding to the press for 2 years. Every single dinner, written down. Let's talk about those dinners, because this is the part that reportedly has Hugh Jackman staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. During The Music Man on Broadway, late 2021 through early 2023, Hugh and Sutton Foster weren't just co-stars. Multiple sources and people connected to the production have suggested their chemistry backstage was, let's say, not exactly a secret to people paying close attention. Nightly rituals, extended moments after performances, the kind of behavior that cast members apparently clocked immediately. But that's not the worst part. Not even close. During that exact same window, Hugh and Deborra Lee were going on double dates with Sutton and her then-husband, Ted Griffin. Dinners together, couples socializing. Sutton and Ted were welcomed into the Jackman home. She sat at Deborra Lee's dinner table. Let that image settle. The woman at her table, in her home, around her children, complimenting her taste, pouring her wine, smiling at her across the room, while allegedly something was already happening that Deborra Lee knew nothing about. Some fans have called it the most cold-blooded detail in this entire story. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that. Because affairs happen, people make terrible choices, marriages collapse. But sitting in someone's home, looking them in the eye, accepting their hospitality, that's a different category of betrayal entirely. Half of $387 million doesn't erase that dinner table. Nothing does. And that's not even the craziest part. Hugh Jackman is reportedly writing his own memoir, his version, his timeline, his carefully shaped explanation for how all of this happened. But here's the problem. Deborra Lee's version is already finished. He's playing catch-up on a race she already won. His book is defensive, built around damage control, shaped by publicists designed to protect what's left of the greatest showman. Hers is offensive, built from memory, from dates, from private conversations he can't deny happened, because she was in the room. And here's the detail that reportedly terrifies Hugh's camp more than anything else. She doesn't need the money. She walked away with roughly half of $387 million. She owns her Manhattan penthouse outright. She is, by any measure, completely financially free. A woman who doesn't need a check cannot be quietly paid to soften the edges. She's writing this book because she wants to, and want is so much more dangerous than need. Then there's Sutton Foster's side of this picture, because people keep glossing over it and they really shouldn't. This is Sutton's second marriage ending under circumstances that feel uncomfortably similar. She and Ted Griffin, who adopted a daughter together, were apparently still married when some fans speculate her connection with Hugh was becoming something more than professional. And now, reportedly, no prenup. Hugh Jackman, $387 million in assets, a messy public divorce already underway, and he's walking into a second marriage with no prenup? The comment section on this story has been absolutely ruthless. One comment with over 700 likes just said, "Once a cheater, always a cheater." And the prediction wasn't about Hugh. His kids know it too. Oscar and Ava, 25 and 20, both reportedly standing firmly beside their mother. Insiders say Hugh's wedding plans with Sutton have quietly stalled because his own kids aren't ready to welcome the woman from those dinner parties into the official family portrait. Deborra Lee didn't poison that relationship. She didn't have to say a word. Those kids were at the table. They watched, they remembered, and they made their own conclusions. Here's what this story is really about. Hugh Jackman spent 27 years playing redeemable men: Wolverine, Jean Valjean, P.T. Barnum, the greatest showman, the man who sold a beautiful illusion and got away with it. And for 27 years, the most convincing role he ever played was devoted husband. Anniversary posts that made strangers tear up, interviews where he called her the love of his life, a public image so carefully maintained that even after the separation, most people still wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. That image survived because she let it survive. She held 27 years of truth in her hands, and she kept it quiet. Until she didn't. In her May 2025 statement, buried just beneath that word betrayal, she said something that almost nobody picked up on. She said she believes the universe is always working for her, that she's gained wisdom through this experience. That's not a woman consumed by bitterness. That's a woman who has already processed the wound, already found the lesson, and now is walking forward with complete clarity. And clarity, cold, documented, unshakable clarity, is the most terrifying thing you can face when you've spent 2 years managing a narrative. Anger can be dismissed, bitterness can be reframed, but a calm woman with a diary full of dates? There is no spin for that. She remembers the dinner table. She remembers every conversation. She wrote it all down. And when that book hits shelves, Hugh Jackman won't be able to call a publicist and make it go away. He lost the joint statement protection. He lost the timeline. He lost the dinner table secret. He lost his children's trust. He lost the narrative. And the woman he underestimated for 27 years is finally telling her story, in her words, on her terms, for the first time. The greatest showman just met someone who saw behind the curtain,
and she took notes.